Hey guys, Ben James here with Lap Realty. I'm doing 2019 third quarter stats. Just wanted to give you an update as to what's been happening in central Alberta. So I wanted to start off by talking about Blackfalds and how they've been doing. Sales are down third quarter from this year to last about 30%, which is a little unfortunate. And where we seen that basically was between the 400 and 450 range in Blackfalds. That's where we noticed the biggest drop in sales this year. So if you were listed in that price range and weren't getting showings and maybe a little disappointed in your realtor activity, that could be the reason why less buyers were purchasing between that 400 and 450 range. And certainly over the $500,000 was another market where things were not as active as they were the year before in 2018. The average days on market for Blackfalds, I'm going to say this for all of the central Alberta, to figure out that stat is a little bit difficult. Expect at least 90 to 120 days for your property to be on the market, and depending on the price range that your property is in, you expect it to be on even longer than that, maybe twice as long or 3 times as long as that, because of the low amount of buyer volume that there is. Listings in Blackfalds are down about 14-15%, which we're starting to see that trend. It is the fall and things are starting to come off the market, but we've also been starting to see that trend all year. A little bit less listings than the year before, and it's no different. We're not getting the same amount of sales we had the year before. I think there's a few more frustrated sellers out there that have pulled the pin and decided to wait, and maybe wait till this election. So we could see a little bit of an increase in listing volume next spring if this election goes as most Albertans are planning. Moving along, Sylvan Lake, sales were pretty much the same as last year. Our listing inventory is pretty much the same as last year. We're hovering right around that 190 mark for listings per month. And again, I wanted to reiterate during doing my stats, I'm using single family home stats. So this does not include townhouse, duplex, or condo properties. So I wanted to make sure that's understood that this is single family detached dwelling stats that I'm using. So yeah, around 190 single family homes in Sylvan Lake that are listed monthly, or sorry, in the market in the third quarter. Biggest sale difference, over $500,000 in Sylvan Lake, has really flattened off. Pretty much 50% compared to last year total sales in the third quarter, and I'm seeing that throughout all 3 quarters so far, that Sylvan Lake's $500,000 market and up is just, you know, half as slow as it was the year before. So yeah, too bad for those sellers. It's frustrating because we're not getting near the showings and obviously near the buyers buying. So Red Deer, we can say the same thing about our $500,000 and up market. Again, about 50% less sales compared to last year in the third quarter. Our inventory in Red Deer is down about 11%, and our sales are only down or up slightly in this market. And again, that can all just be based on certain properties that have been on the market a long time getting into a price point where somebody can buy them. So Red Deer sales were just a little bit better this quarter versus last quarter. But as I said before, our $500,000 market and up in Red Deer is where everything's being affected, and it's down about 50% sales wise. Rocky was up about 12% sales wise compared to last year, with 24 sales in this third quarter, which is really good for Rocky. So that's a strong showing. Last year there was about 20 or so sales, so yeah, good little increase there. Listing inventory is down to around 133 listings, which is sort of it's still a buyer's market in Rocky. It's a buyer's market in central Alberta. It's still a lot of listings for a smaller community, and the biggest shift was between $200,000 and the $300,000 range. That's where Rocky seen a few more sales this quarter that they didn't see in 2018. Ponoka, we saw big sales again. They increased with over 28 sales in this quarter compared to last year. Last year's 20. So good for Ponoka to see some activity out there. It's always nice to see those little communities starting to get some more buyers in the marketplace. Listing inventory is up a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, with about 120 in the market. And where it was interesting, or where we saw most, everywhere except for the 250 to 350 range, showed signs of activity in Ponoka, or better activity than in the year past. So it was that 250 to 350 range where there were actually less sales this quarter compared to last year, but everywhere else produced better, which gave us more sales overall for that quarter. Lacombe's down about 21% sales from last year, with about 54 in this quarter, and listing inventory didn't really increase a whole lot, basically 150 versus the 140 from last year, or 145, sorry, from last year, so not a real big change there. Again, one of the biggest notices was over 400,000 in Lacombe, selling a little bit less than what there was the years previous. So, and that seems to be our biggest struggle in central Alberta right now, especially over the $500,000 mark. A lot of properties built between 2007 and 2014 that were built over $500,000, and now trying to unload those during these economic hard times for a lot of these sellers that don't have jobs anymore. And that's where we're seeing the biggest struggle, is we don't have the buyers to buy those, and that's where the biggest losses are happening, where we're seeing properties that to rebuild are almost probably 15% higher to rebuild that same house today than it is to buy it resale in the market, which is just crazy. And there's another sign that things are not great, and still are not good in central Alberta. Our building inventory has not been increasing, it's been decreasing. It continues to decrease. Lots of builders have almost shut their doors. We're seeing, you know, 1 or 2 builds in each community a month, if that. In places like Sylvan Lake, where I live, the build construction has almost gone to a complete stop. So, and that's why, because when a buyer is costing out a brand new home, and then they look at some of the houses that are on the market that are 3-4 years old, and they're 10 to 15% less, it's, when we're talking $500,000, I mean, that's $50,000 they're saving by buying something that's a couple of years old. So we're really starting to notice the inventory, build inventory, basically stall, and that's unfortunate as well, because, you know, we all want to see our economies thrive and yeah, bring people to the community, but it's definitely been a challenge the last couple of years. So I wish you all the best out there. I wish all the sellers the best out there, and don't get frustrated with your realtors. It's not necessarily them. It could be the fact that we just don't have the buyer inventory we're used to seeing. And every year, obviously, again, compared to last year and 2017, we're just, it's becoming less and less, and in some cases 50% less from the year before, which is huge and detrimental to some of these sellers that are trying to sell. So thanks again. You can look me up if you want more information on your specific area. Maybe you're in a condo, maybe you're in a townhouse. You might be in Red Deer, Blackfalds, or maybe you're in Penhold, or some of the other communities, Bentley, Rimbey. Definitely give me a call or look me up. You can find me on most social media platforms. I'm at www.benjames.laprealty.ca. You can also give me a call at 403-396-1290. Thanks. Take care.